All right, go ahead and call our meeting to order and open up the floor to discussion of last month's minutes.
I did not see any problems, so I would make a motion that the minutes for both the regular meeting and the executive meeting be. I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Move it. Friends of the Library report.
Okay, the Friends met on July 25th. There was just a few people there. Mary Graber came and met them and talked about the summer reading program and the success of the summer reading program. And then I did my report, but it was all on the stuff that I told you last month, so I'm not going to go through all of that. I did want to let you know that they made $1,483.57 at the June book sale, and then they had a one-day book sale in August, and they made $338.50, and their balance as of August 3rd, 2018 is $4,468.02. So they're doing really, really well. Maybe if you want this market. Oh, okay. So. Is it okay if I go straight into the director's report?
Anybody
All right.
have any questions?
Okay, we are still at a holding pattern on boiler number 2. It's still out of commission. It still has a regulator issue. I have not heard back from Combustion Mechanical, but I will call them again tomorrow to try to get the status on that, because right now we have one working boiler. So, in that section, I also included, you should have gotten a copy of the recommendation from Colliers regarding going to geothermal, and I've included that in your packet. And then, because we're on this right now, this is my plan, and I need to know how you feel about this. So we had Mike do the study. We have the 4 or 5 different projects within that study that we need to do. The total bill on that we thought was $700,000. As you know, since we refinanced the bond just 2 years ago, we are unable to issue another bond, which I didn't want to do anyways, because I think we can, at least for the first 2 big expensive projects, budget out a rainy day. So the budget I gave you, which we can go over later, but I showed you how I was able to decrease the budget for 2019 in order to spend out of the rainy day fund. I also want to remind you that this year we've gone ahead and cut back on a lot of our capital expenditures, which are books, videos, DVDs, all those kind of things for the rest of this year, so that at the end of this year, we'll have extra money that we can actually put and designate to the rainy day fund, so that we'll have money available to spend for 2020. I also want to remind you that we have the $100,000 CD with Cetera, which I believe is available for us to get access on in February of 2019. It might be March 2019. And what I propose there is once it matures and we can handle it or get our hands on it, that we go ahead and make a motion in a meeting to take that $100,000 in that CD and roll it into rainy day. So basically doing all of that, we have the 2 big expensive projects covered. Then we have the little kind of less expensive, and by that I mean $25,000 in comparison for the other projects.
What specifically are the 2?
Let's move in boilers.
The boilers would have been the first, and then the second is the controls for all the mechanical. so that it's on a computer interface so that I can control it from a computer.
Now, if we use the rainy day fund, doesn't that affect our normal operating budget then? Don't we have to put it back?
No, if I budget to use rainy day, we don't have to return it.
Okay, so if we budget to use it, we don't have to return it?
We don't have to return it. It's when we don't budget for it, we have a problem, and I have to go and ask for an additional appropriation from the county council. Then, when we get to the next tax draw, I have to replace it.
Yeah.
This is not what's happening. But I do want you to know that I believe we'll be okay as far as standards go, because we're required to spend 7.5% of the budget on materials for patrons. And because I've always been above that number, we're gonna be right at that number. But we're still within standards.
For a period of time.
For a period of time, until we get these things taken care of. Right, now the other big issue is the carpet. Greg's absolutely right, it is horrendous. The carpet coming down the stairs and the carpet upstairs, it's horrible. It's green and it looks brown, especially in the high traffic areas. We get it cleaned 3 times, I want to almost say 4 times a year, but it's just old. It's 19 years old and it needs to be replaced. And that was my original plan for rainy day money for 2019. But obviously, we need to take care of the boilers. Now, Courtney from White's is coming to meet with me tomorrow because they do a spot cleaning, and I'm going to see what they can do as far as getting those bad areas cleaned up a little better for us and the staircase. So I am totally aware of how bad it looks, and I wish we had a little extra money for that. But to replace all the carpeting in the building is around $100,000.
And then I would assume we're gonna have bids for those as well?
Bids for the carpeting or bids for the?
Boilers, I mean.
What I'd like to do is actually bid the project out to people like Mike, so actual engineers. Maybe go to ask for 3 separate proposals for just the boiler project and get those, and actually have somebody who takes Mike's plan and implements it. But I'm not your contractor. Let's just put it that way. Mary's not doing it.
Does that include them overseeing it to make sure?
That's what I would like to have happen.
Yeah.
Now, I'm inclined to use Mike, but I believe, I don't know, it's about 10% of the project, so it's about $23,000. I don't know that I have to get 3 bids, but we probably would like 3 bids.
And are we talking about the engineering and the engineering supervision and the writing of the specs? Are we talking about the actual HVAC contracting?
Not the HVAC. This is step 1. Step
Okay.
1 is finding one person to oversee the project.
We do not have to bid out professional services.
Okay.
So we can select whatever attorney, whatever financial advisor, whatever
So we could
engineer
do-
we want. Yes.
Okay.
We can, yes, if you're comfortable with this, with Mike doing this, for professional services, those aren't subject, because they aren't considered fungible. They aren't considered apples to apples. Different people bring different skill levels to things.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I was just wondering about the budgeting for the rainy day fund, to make sure that we had enough, that we were budgeting to use, so we didn't have to put it back. if we didn't need to. That's why I was asking about the bids for the boilers, the carpet.
okay, I'm gonna do, you and I probably just
Probably not.
communicating here. What I want to do is project by project. Okay, so the first project would be, I would call Mike and say, Mike, what would you charge to oversee doing this for us? And then he does the whole bids out to all the general.
Which would be the normal thing, that they
Right.
would, he would,
Yeah.
your engineer would write the specs, would help us assess the bids when they came back in, would help whether or not they were responsible and responsible,
Mhm.
would then help us award it and then oversee and
Oversee it.
supervise while
Mhm.
it was taken care of. That,
So that would be mine, and that would be project one. And we would use the $273,174 I have in rainy day fund for 2019 to pay for that project.
So if we don't use it, that isn't a budgetary issue. That's what I'm wondering. If we-
No, it is not.
That's what I was
It
wondering.
is not an issue.
Okay, because I thought that came off of next year's operating budget. Next year, if we budget to use a rainy day and don't use it, whatever was left, we don't get back the next year.
No.
Okay.
It's still our money.
Okay.
It's still our money. I really don't want us to do that because that's a big chunk of money. $275,000 I'm taking out of operating is a big chunk, not to spend.
Right.
Okay, but no, we won't lose it.
Okay.
We won't lose it, but we have to refill it. So that's where I was telling you about the Centera account, talking about this year's budget. We're really trying to skim it down to bare bones so that at the end of the year, we have another 123,000, 150,000 that we can then put into rainy day. Plus Centera puts it at about 250. And with a little left over, I'm hoping from the 2019 budget, we'll have enough to pay for the next big project in 2020. Am I being clear?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was just wondering which, for that rainy day fund, because I thought if we used it, or when we budget for it, if we budgeted that amount, but we didn't use all of it, whatever we budgeted, it'd come off of next year's, no. Okay, good. So rainy day fund just stays there for us to,
Correct.
so we can budget to use as much as we need.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Then that was my question about the bids, to make sure that we had enough in there to cover the bids and whatever.
Okay, now, are all of you comfortable with us using Mike, Lumen Housing Primary
Would you?
Engineering?
No.
No?
I
Okay.
got one comment to make. Mike is really like an architect. He's putting all this together. Unless he puts it in writing, if something goes bad, like a roof, down the road for X amount of years, he'll come back in and take the responsibility to get it repaired. Now, just like this roof, we went through this thing. They have given us, what, 10 years, 12 years?
12-year warranty on this.
12-year warranty, labor and material.
Mhm.
Now, if you can get that out of Mike to do that, well, I don't see the problem, I don't see. But if he's gonna shove it off and have these companies bid, and although he might oversee, when it's done, he's gone.
and Don, I guess I would only suggest, rather than impose that on the engineer, that we insist that the engineer put it in the bid specs.
Part of the bid.
Do what?
That we make sure the engineer puts it in the bid specs, the contractors.
Oh, that he would be part of it?
That the contractors have to offer that kind of a guarantee. I'm not sure you're gonna get an engineer to warranty parts.
Well, no, I don't either, but he can come in there, let's say he redesigned something. They go back in there and they find out, like Collier, he went in there, flues or whatever. And somebody else comes in there and says, well, the flues are this or that was done by an engineer. He designed it, so is he at fault?
Yeah, he'd be professionally negligent, arguably, if we have another engineer that later on says that his.
Yeah, but that would never happen. We counted on this architect for this building.
But at that point, it doesn't make any difference if you've got it in writing or not, because then you still don't have anybody to say that he was at fault in doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad idea to have that in the specs. I just don't think we're gonna get any engineer to write us a warranty on contractor's work. And
Somebody else's
technically,
work.
as a professional, they charge us for professional standard of work, and they are responsible for any negligence, just like a doctor or a lawyer would be. But you're correct. I mean, that's, when you talk about the practical matter, Don, yeah. So part of that is a matter of trust.
There's a lot of big enough companies that will do their own engineering. And that's what I keep looking for, a company that has an engineer that will bid the project, we do 2 or 3 comparables, but it's a whole package deal. Something goes wrong, like these roof people, they're tied in it for 12 years. mean, you go down to Redlands and have them do a building or something like that. They'll design it, bring their own people in, work on it, and get it out. Now, if they give you a price you don't like, well, you go to somebody else too.
And I think the difficulty of having a one-stop shop is we do have to start with basic specs that are identical so that we can compare apples to apples on the bid. So
We ran into that with the roof.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the problem with having sort of a one-stop, this is your plans, because we're gonna get 5 or 6 different plans and not have any way to compare.
Well, usually if you get somebody that really knows their business in the one stop, they'll put the specs together and you can use them. I've done that many times.
Yeah, but we have to bid a project.
Yeah.
We won't be able to evaluate one to the other based on if they match the specs that we're given.
You didn't hear what I said. You get one company to put the specs together that has engineering in the company.
Right.
You can use those specs to go to 2, 3, 4, 5, use their specs. So everybody's,
Oh, I
use
see.
the apples to apples. Yeah.
But isn't that what he did in this?
I guess that's what exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
but
we're gonna
he's
do.
just the engineer, he's not the person that's gonna be doing the work.
Unless you pick the one that wrote the specs, you wouldn't have that.
No, but I mean, it sounds complicated.
Well, I told Michael, and they had the architect, and they had all in-house, it was just a turnkey thing. But, yeah, it's,
Then you have one person just to go back to.
the overseeing part of it is the question. Sometimes it's nice to have an independent person making sure
Oh, yeah.
So,
that
Mary,
they don't, and that's, I think, what we wanted to see was to have, you know, if they're doing their own work, they're gonna be a little more lax on it than if you have somebody else checking up on it, maybe, is what I would wonder about.
and that's where you were saying you don't want to have that responsibility as a no, you want that to be someone else.
It needs to be an engineer, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because I don't,
You don't know what that means.
I have no
We
idea.
don't expect you to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't expect you to do that.
Well,
I
we
mean-
kinda did that with the roof specs.
Pardon?
You guys kinda did that with the roof specs.
Well,
I mean,
but we had-
I'm the one that came up with that,
Well,
using,
yeah, but by the time we got it down there and the warranties and everything, we got basically what we wanted.
Mhm.
You know, we worked that out, because at one point, there wasn't a guarantee on there, and then, but he had it on, then he didn't, and we got it back. But as far as you going up and checking his roof or everything, don't you dare do that.
well, I'm not,
Yeah.
that's not in my plans.
Well, you're not an Amish woman either, I mean, you can't go up.
Wait till it's 95 minutes.
And then I guess then you go up in your guys' office.
So, you're asking for an okay, a motion that we can use this person for this next step?
We have to start somewhere, and Mike did it in 2009 for us, and nothing was ever taken care of. Then he did it for 2018, and I want to see us move forward with this.
What's
He's
his
very
cost?
familiar with the issues.
What's his cost?
We asked him that last time when he was in, he gave us a ballpark.
Is that a percent?
About 8 to 10% of the cost of the project. So I built in $22,500 for the cost of an engineer.
Those professional services.
Now, does it have to be Mike? No, it doesn't.
You would like some,
I want someone. I guess because Mike, I'm leaning towards Mike because he's the person I know, and he's the one that's done this twice for us.
it's easy to get hold of and everything.
He's been great as far as that goes.
He's
That
very
is
familiar.
With Don's concerns, I guess, I think I am absolutely okay with that. I don't know about everybody else. I'd like, if there's some warranty specification we can have in there, and then I think it has to do with making sure we get a responsible bidder, and have that warranty. I think I understand what Don is saying, but I'm not sure, other than having competing engineering plans
First,
first, which we would, I suppose we can do, but I think we're slowing things. I mean, we've got almost an emergency situation,
We do, yeah.
so.
We talk about doing it this year. and decide
So
this
I'll go
year.
ahead and move to authorize the director to hire an engineer for purposes of preparing bid specifications and to oversee letting of the bids and supervision of the proposed first two,
The first draft.
The
Let's
first-
just do the first.
the first.
The boilers.
The boiler project. So I'll go ahead and make that a motion.
All right, so we've got a motion. Do we have a second? A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right.
But with deference to Don, please make sure we put something in the specs about
Right,
warranties.
that subcontractors have to provide
Well,
warranties for parts and
yeah, contractors and all subcontractors and contractors, yeah.
We can find out from the engineer what kind of responsibility or how long come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Things.
Well, you can call Mike and ask him for particulars on how we get him all that
Just
information.
get first professional liability insurer, that'll put a little scare into it.
Okay, so we got through that section. The budget, we kind of went through, and I have that as part of the director's report. Do you have any question about the numbers I've proposed giving you? Do you understand what I'm doing? Kinda, sorta?
I think
It's like you're
Robbing
shading.
Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's the second and third one.
this rainy day fund that's really not makes me, I'm still struggling with that.
Well, I'm really glad we had that $100,000 that we put in the Cetera account, because we can certainly use that. And then whatever I save this year on the budget, the operating budget, we can pay again.
In the personnel, do we eliminate like one higher paying position? I mean, to say 36,000.
That's because for September, October, November, and December, I had planned to be paying for Deb plus her replacement as training, and we won't have that expense next year.
Oh, so that's why it was up this year.
Correct.
Down, so the,
And I was still able to do an overall 2% increase and then raise the minimums for our entry-level positions. However, I do know that Walmart pays $11 an hour. I'm just throwing it out there.
And that's for December, yes?
Yes, we don't vote, but I wanted you to know what I was doing while I was doing the budget, so you weren't surprised. You want me to keep on going, or you want me to, okay?
Yep.
Discover Books sent us a check for $73.90 for the past quarter, which they've been a really good, collaboration for us. The hiring issues, I actually did hire a circulation clerk. She started yesterday, so that position is filled. And then I'll be doing interviews tomorrow, Friday, and next week for the adult services librarian position. And I'm hoping that that person can start on or around October 1st. Oh, I brought the Marlon Bundo books. Okay. So, and I'll pass them around so you can take a look. This is the original Marlon Bundo book. It's called A Day in the Life of the Vice President. It was written by the Pence family. Okay? So then, last week tonight with John Oliver presents A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo. This was the opposite side of the aisle's reaction to that. Does that make sense? So we have both books in our collection. This one was actually given to us by the school, and I felt compelled to buy the other one so that we have both sides of the story. So I'll start this one. And I have not heard from the patron who had a concern about that book.
Because you did follow up with her.
I did follow up and I sent a letter, so.
Do you think they just gave up or?
Well, it's just that, we follow the ALA right to view, or right to read, or right to view. And she can control what she views and she can control what her children do. It doesn't apply to everyone. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, well, that's, and I guess I also thought we owe most of our duty to people that live in the library district, and she clearly was not a library. I don't know if is she a card holder?
She lives in Albion.
Okay. Does she have a card though? or-
She's an Evergreen Library card holder.
Evergreen, okay.
Yeah. But she's an Albion patron.
Okay.
Or Noble County Public Library.
So she actually has another home library, so I'm wondering if that letter didn't get sent out to
I could not find anything that indicated that.
other places. Okay,
No.
all right.
How did she happen to be in our library?
Albion's not that far off, we have a really good library.
We have a really good library. We get deliveries 5 times a week, and
Not that she's
we've
not
got really
welcome.
great
Yeah.
customer service, so
Yeah.
a lot of people come to us from the other
And
libraries.
they're welcome to, not saying that, but.
Okay, the roof, they've started on the roof. It's not done yet, but we're in the finish.
And it is lighter, but it's not the white stuff that I see.
No, it should be tan.
Okay.
So I believe they're gonna put a final coat, maybe 2 final coats yet. There's no time for that one yet.
I haven't seen, is the fabric on it? Because I didn't see the fabric on it.
Well, it's probably,
Pieces.
well, it's gonna be where the seams are. It's not gonna be over the whole roof, it's just wherever there's a seam.
Okay.
And no, I'm not there yet to check.
No. I just thought they were, putting the sealant on all of the seams.
That's, no, it's just on the seams that we're putting that kind of gauze looking stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's their, where are they at as far as finishing up?
They told me 2 weeks, and it's been a little over 2 weeks now. They're over a day on their 2 weeks.
And there's been a lot of rain.
So
So when are they predicting?
I have not talked to the guys.
And they've, as far as the rain goes, the remediation and everything for any runoff, everything's doing great.
Knock on wood, we haven't had any issues with anything. And they've kept things, I think it looks pretty tidy out
It does.
there for all, and I have not seen a speck of overspray anywhere. So as far as that goes, to me, they're living up to what they said they would do at this point. Okay, staff development day is on the 24th, and I was a little concerned I wouldn't have enough people, but Sandy Sloan, who's the vice president of the Friends, and then Chris Hoppus, who's part of the Literacy Council, are going to come to staff development day. So I'm at 40, which is the number that I need. But if anybody wants to attend, just let me know, and we'll gladly have you join us. State Board of Accounts, there is, and I put this in here, there are a lot of things that we have to do every month that Linda's gonna have to go back and put in from January through July that are required by State Board of Accounts. They're telling us the reason for this is so that their auditors can access our information anywhere, and so their on-site time will be reduced and will cost us less money. But another way to look at it is Linda's doing their work for them. So.
More work for her.
Okay, and then the vaping incident, did you have any questions about that? Okay.
There haven't been any other issues?
There have not been any other incidents involving,
They were downstairs?
there is a smoke detector over down that hall by my office,
Mhm.
and they were vaping under there.
Purposely?
They were trying to get kicked out,
They
they were
were-
successful.
They were trying to
Yeah.
set the smoke alarm off.
They were trying to set the smoke alarm
I
off.
was young. Stupid girl downstairs.
But would you set the smoke detector off in the public library?
My dad would not have been that.
No, that's the
Sounds
problem.
like kids.
Yep.
Okay, and then the final thing is the Youth Services Bureau asked us to be a safe place site, and I agreed to that. So there's a little training involved, but nothing horrid. And then just yesterday, air handling number 3, the duct detector set off the alarm, but it wasn't a big loud, it was just the buzzy noise on the Seaman fire alarm. And I had TCS come out and check the air handling unit, and then I had Corson come out and replace a detector, like a smoke detector or sensor, and he reset the alarm so everything was good.
Was it just a bad
It was
detector?
just- Yeah, the detector in this was bad,
Okay.
so they replaced it. That's all the fun I've been having so far.
All right. Well, thank you, Mary.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for answering all those questions.
Oh, sure, not a problem.
Open the floor up for discussion of the monthly claims.
I didn't see an issue.
You didn't get it?
I'll move that here, accept the claims. Yes. Enter.
Second.
Anybody else?
That one item in there where it was primary engineering Inc. for $6,900.
That was for the study that Mike did for us,
Okay.
for this.
Any other questions? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving monthly claims?
I,
Opposed?
There's 2 days.
I'll give you a second. Should we read all of it? Or just the?
Well, I mean,
Just the
you
least
guys
one.
have seen it before. Do you need it?
No,
or
I haven't.
Okay.
I was gonna read it, just the
That's the
title,
same
everything we
one
do
we do
every year.
It's the same one we do
Yeah.
every year. So just want to
You
read the
didn't send
top.
us a copy this time.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. it-
Okay.
All right. We're gonna make a resolution for the commitment to join the Indiana State Library Consortium for Public Library Internet Access for funding year July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2020. Does anyone have any questions or comment, discussion on the floor? All right, looking for a,
we do filter here though.
Yes.
any other
Want a
questions?
motion?
I will, any other questions? All right, motion to approve
So moved.
Second.
and second. Moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Is there anything else, Mary?
I just want to let you know, so far this year, we're up on circulation, we're up on meeting room usage, we're up on number of people coming into the library, only it's like
Did we start on that
370.
side?
So, those are all good things. That's all I have.
And the resolution is coming, I will go ahead and note that. It has a very specific yes and no side, so.
Sure, you're buying the right column.
Yes.
Represent your.
All right, anyone want to make a motion to adjourn our meeting?
I'd still make the motion.
I would second that.
All right, moved and second. All those in favor of adjourn?
Aye.
Opposed? We're right, we are adjourned.
That's a record, I think.
That is
Bad.
Fast.
Yeah.